Namaskar, dear listeners and friends. On this special occasion of Children's Day, Bambusa Library gladly presents the Bal Jagat program on Akashwani Teju. I'm your host, Siwani Pul, and with me are
Sounal Das,
Trisha Kumari,
Bonila Mom, Jetliso Bellai,
Ayush Verma,
Jeena, Thapa,
Anushka Kumari,
Rayna Brahma,
Indra Kumari Yadav,
Lingmun Haisa, Rinalu Malo,
and Arpita Ram.
listeners. Children's Day is celebrated every year on the 14th of November in loving memory of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, who believed that children are the real strength and future of the nation. He was fondly called Chacha Nehru by children all over India. So, today's program is a tribute to that spirit of curiosity, joy and innocence, the magic that makes childhood so special. We have stories, poems and performances lined up for you, all by our wonderful young participants. So, sit back and enjoy. To begin our program, we present the national song Vande Mataram, sung by our young talents. Let's all join our hearts in this melodious salute to our motherland.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam, Sufalam, Malayaj Sheetalam, Sasya Shamalam, Mataram, Vande Mataram, Shubhra Josna Pulakitayamini, Fulla Kusumita Drumadala Shobini, Suhasini, Sumadura Bhashini, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
That was beautiful. Now, dear friends, let's move on to our first performance. Here's Godzilla Training, a fun story written by a class 5 student from Chennai. Let us listen to the story presented by Jetliso Bellai and find out what happens when even a mighty monster has to learn discipline.
One midnight, I woke up around 11:05 p.m. and remained awake since I didn't get proper sleep. I was resting, closing my eyes, but somebody woke me up. Then it was around 11:45 p.m. I thought it was my mom, but surprisingly, nobody was there. I was scared. Doors and windows were slashing like the horror scene in the movies. I went to the balcony. There I saw Godzilla, who was waiting for me. After seeing me, it followed me. I took my cycle and started cycling. My legs were paining. I shouted, "Ow!" I saw some other people who were cycling like me, saying it will not pain. One girl from that group said, "You tie your cycle with my cycle?" Luckily, I had a rope in my cycle. I used it to tie my cycle and her cycle. I also helped her to do cycling. I used my special technique to go front. We became friends. We entered the woods. I was scared to cycle as it was too dark. My friend luckily had a torchlight and a headlamp. In the cold breeze, we were shivering. She had 2 sweaters too. I wore the purple stuff, and she wore the pink one. We had to climb a small mountain. I was too frightened because my parents would not allow me to climb even a tiny slope too. My friend motivated me and helped me to climb the hill. We climbed the mountain with the help of our cycle. When we looked at the end, there was no way to go down. I was really afraid. We couldn't do anything because Godzilla would attack us if if we didn't go to the foot of the mountain. So we just stood there. I heard a voice that told us, "Go down, nothing will happen." I told my friend what I heard. She too heard the same. And what do you think what was that voice? If you want to know more about this story, read the story Godzilla's Training to Humans by Teju 5th Standard.
Dear friends, Rinalu and Lingmun bring you a gentle and imaginative poem, Waiting at the Window, written by A. Milne, the beloved author of Winnie the Pooh. It is taken from his book, Glad to Meet You, a lovely piece that shows how even waiting can be filled with wonder. Let us listen to them.
Waiting at the window. These are my 2 drops of rain, waiting on the window pane.
I am waiting here to see which the winning one will be.
Both of them have different names. One is John and one is James.
All the best and all the worst comes from which of them is first.
James has just begun to ooze. He's the one I want to lose.
John is waiting to begin. He's the one I want to win.
James is going slowly on. Something sort of sticks to John.
John is moving off at last. James is going pretty fast.
John is rushing down the pane. James is going slow again.
James has met a sort of snare. John is getting very near.
Is he going fast enough?
John has hurried quickly by.
John is there and John has won. Look, I told you, here's the sun.
Listeners, since today's program celebrates Children's Day, let us take a moment to remember Chacha Nehru himself. Ms. Arpita Ram will now share an excerpt from Nehruji's historic speech, "The Light Has Gone Out of Our Lives," broadcasted on Akashvani Delhi the night after Gandhiji's passing in 1948. It reflects the deep compassion and humanity Nehruji carried in his heart.
Friends and comrades, the light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere. I do not know what to tell you or how to say it. Our beloved leader, Bapu as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more. Perhaps I am wrong to say that. Nevertheless, we will never see him again as we have seen him for these many years. We will not run to him for advice and seek solace from him. And that is a terrible blow, not only for me, but for millions and millions in this country. The light has gone out, I said, and yet I was wrong. For the light that shone in this country was no ordinary light. The light that has illumined this country for these many years will illumine this country for many more years. And 1,000 years later, that the light will still be seen in this country and the world will see it. And it will give solace to innumerable hearts. For that, light represented something more than the immediate past. It represented the living, the eternal truths, reminding us of the right path, drawing us from error, taking this ancient country to freedom. All this has happened when there was still so much for him to do. His absence now, when we face so many challenges, is a blow most difficult to bear. A madman has ended his life, and yet there has been much poison spread in our land, and that poison has affected people's mind. We must root out this poison and face all dangers before us, not with anger or violence, but with the courage and peace as he taught us. None of us must misbehave or give way to anger. If his spirit watches over us, nothing would pain him more than to see us turn to violence. So, let's stand united, strong and determined. Let all petty conflicts end in the face of this great tragedy. In his death, Bapu has reminded us of the great truths of life, of love, of peace and of unity. If we remember that, then it will be well with India.
Now, dear listeners, let's travel far back in time to the world of pyramids and pharaohs. Kumar Ayush will read from the colorful book Ancient Egyptians by Usborne Publishers UK, a gift to our library by patron Mr. Simon Smith. It is full of fun facts about ancient life and history, and you can find it right at your own Bambusa library.
Ancient Egyptian houses were made of dried mud and painted white. Houses had small windows to keep out the hot sun. People cooked food and baked bread outside. Some people had a pool in their garden where they kept fish to eat. Egyptians slept on hard wooden beds with wooden headrests instead of pillows. Rich people often had servants. Egyptian kings were called pharaohs. The pharaoh was the richest and the most important person in the whole country. A pharaoh made laws and gave orders. He led his soldiers to fight enemies. He went out hunting in his chariot. He also met visitors from other countries. All pharaohs wore crowns. Some were decorated with golds and jewels. Pharaoh Ramesses II had a pet lion to scare away enemies. Ancient Egyptians believed in many different gods and goddesses. Egyptian gods sometimes looked like animals. A goddess called Hathor was often shown as a cow. Sekhmet was a fierce war goddess. Ra was the powerful sun god. Bes looked after children and families. Mat was the goddess of truth. Horus looked after pharaohs. Sat was the evil uncle of Horus. Horus and Sat were enemies. They once turned into fierce hippos to fight.
Most people who have a phone must have lost one. How do you feel if you lose something you value very much? A toy, a book, or a birthday gift from your uncle? Here is Anushka sharing the feelings of a person who lost his mobile, a Hindi poem by Shri T.N.C. Sridhar, IRS, and an esteemed patron of Arunachal children from Bangalore. Let us listen to her poem.
मैंने अपना मोबाइल खो दिया, मैंने अपना मोबाइल खो दिया, ऐसे लगा जैसे मैंने अपने जीवन का मुख्य हिस्सा ही खो दिया। मुझे लगा जैसे मेरी दुनिया डूब गई है, मैं पूरी तरह से असहाय हो गया। मुझे नहीं पता कि अब जीवन कैसे जीना है, मुझे नहीं पता कि अब जीवन कैसे जीना है। दुनिया की सारी खबरें जो दिन रात मेरे हाथों में थी, जिन्होंने मुझे हर सवाल का जवाब दिया, मुझे पूरी तरह से थका दिया, मुझे पूरी तरह से थका दिया। जब भी किसी का कल्याण पूछना चाहता था, समय या अवसर नहीं देता था। जब भी किसी को देखना चाहता था, समय या अवसर नहीं देता था। कुछ उंगलियों को दबाकर मैं इसे हासिल कर सकता था, कुछ उंगलियों को दबाकर मैं इसे हासिल कर सकता था। मैंने अपना मोबाइल खो दिया।
Friends, it's time for a little mystery. Here comes a thrilling theatre reading, Mystery of the Missing Boy by Jetliso and team, based on a story from Dimdima magazine. The cast includes Jetliso, Trisha, Arpita, Anushka, Sounal, Jeena, Indra, Lingmun, and Rinalu. Let's see if you can guess the twist before the ending.
Laluram and Sarasa go to get flowers for puja. The market is crowded.
Get me that garland, please.
Papa, how about these roses?
Laluram catches the boy who has picked his wallet.
What's making you to do this, son?
Sorry, sir, please.
Sarasa recognizes her classmate.
Karthik, you stopped coming to school 2 weeks ago.
I couldn't.
Laluram makes a decision.
When did you eat last time properly?
Yesterday morning, sir.
Laluram takes him to a restaurant.
He seemed nice. First offered us food and games at the children's home. Then he said we owed him, had to help him or else.
Then Karthik abruptly stopped. Laluram takes Karthik to the children's home.
3 boys missing in 2 weeks. Karthik is the 4th to disappear.
We will find them, ma'am.
Later, Laluram has a quiet word with the warden.
Do you suspect anyone?
Not really, but a helper joined last month. He left abruptly. Here the application he gave us. See the photo attached.
This is helpful, madam. Thank you.
1 week later at school.
My dog really like you?
First time I have with real friends.
As Sarasa turns to her friends.
Oh no, he's found me.
After the short recess.
Karthik, where is that boy?
The teacher reports to the principal.
Inspector Laluram. He was here this morning.
Don't worry, we will find them.
The investigation begins.
Remember anything about him?
A man on a bike took to the boy, wore a muffler even in this heat.
Inspector Laluram forms a search team.
Karthik used to play with this dog every day. This week, that's our advantage.
Smart thinking, sir.
The dog leads the search team to the flower market, the restaurant, and then to the outskirts of the city. The search party takes the narrow path winding up the hill.
Your police friend had a big mistake. I will show you how I take care of traitors like you.
He's just a police. He actually cares about us.
The next moment.
Drop the knife now.
Who was that? And what do you think what would have happened next? If you want to know, come to Bambusa Library and read the story The Mystery of the Missing Boys from the magazine Dimdima.
And now, dear listeners, we end our Children's Day special with a delightful poem, The Little Red Hen by Mary Ann Hoberman, a beloved children's poet from the USA. It is a witty, cheerful tale from her book, You Read to Me, I'll Read to You, a very short fairy tales. Let us enjoy this lively recitation by Sounal, Rayna, Bonila and Indra.
The Little Red Hen and the Grain of Wheat. I'm little red hen. I planted the wheat. I dug up the soil and the dust and the heat.
And I am the duck, and I have to admit that I did not help her, not one little bit.
I'm little red hen. With my rake and my hoe, I weeded my garden and helped it to grow.
And I am the cat, and all through the spring I did nothing at all, not one little thing.
I am little red hen. I watered my grain all summer long, and I did not complain.
And I am the dog. I stayed in my bed and pulled all my covers right over my head.
I worked in my garden until it was fall, and the small grain of wheat had grown ripe and quite tall.
He was as she worked while the harvest time passed, and she threshed it, ground it, and baked it at last.
And then when the bread was baked and golden and nice, I went and I asked you if you did like a slice.
And all of us answered, as you may well guess, with a shout and a cheer and a great big loud yes.
But you did not help me. I worked all alone and cared for my garden until it was grown.
And all of us answer, we're sorry indeed. We'll help you the next time when you plant a seed.
Is that a true promise? Do all of you swear to help me the next time and do your fair share?
And all of us answer, why little red hen will never be lazy and share fish again.
Well, if you are sure that you will do as you say, then here are your slices.
Oh, hooray! This bread is delicious, so golden and brown. And now that if eaten, we think we'll sit down.
I think I will sit with you and take a short rest. I will read you a story, the one I like best.
What story is that, hen?
A story I know. We'll read it together. We'll go nice and slow.
And what it is called, hen?
Why, something quiet and sweet, the little red and the small grain of wheat.
Why, that sounds like you, hen.
You're all in it too.
You read it to me and
I read it to you.
You read it to me
and I'll read it to you.
And that brings us to the end of our Children's Day special on Bal Jagat program. Dear listeners and friends, we hope you enjoyed every bit of today's program that was filled with stories, laughter and imagination. On behalf of Bambusa Library, we wish every child a very happy Children's Day. Remember Chacha Nehru's words, the children of today will make the India of tomorrow. So keep reading, keep learning and keep dreaming big. This is Siwani Pul, your Compere for today's program, signing off with love and warm wishes. Namaskar and see you again in the next Bal Jagat.